Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution. We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Peleo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Nangadef. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Join us live on the on-air radio network. Call 727-731-5192. We want to talk to you. Yes, we do want to talk to you, and we want you to talk to us too. I'm Naima Latif, and welcome to the On-Air Daily News Hour. And today we are, as usual, excited to bring you a guest that comes from our On-Air Daily News team to bring you some news you can use that will inspire you. We have heroes in our midst who have made an impact in our society. And every now and then we get an opportunity to honor them with a permanent fixture in our cities that reminds us of their work, their sacrifice, their efforts, and their lasting impact on our lives. One such individual was Mamie Till Mobley. She was the mother of Emmett Till. And Emmett Till was an unexpected hero simply because his tragic death ignited so many to stand up and fight for justice, those who had previously been silent in the face of so much oppression and racial disparity across the United States. But the death of Emmett Till sparked a movement that led to now our present day privileges, rights, and empowerment elected officials, new laws passed, changes in behavior. Emmett Till was tragically murdered, and his mother, realizing how he was brutalized, wanted the world to see the ugliness of racism. And so she chose to have an open casket. And as the city and many others who traveled to attend his services filed past the open casket, they were horrified at how badly his body, his face had been mutilated. Well, that tragic period in our past will now be remembered in a street sign thanks to the efforts of one of our own on-air daily news columnists, Mamadee, a longtime activist and one who has kept to the forefront the memory of this tragedy so that we could be forever reminded of our responsibility to always fight back when faced with injustice. Fight back until we win. So we want to present to you and reintroduce to others, joining us on our live line, Mamadee. Thank you for joining us this evening on the On-Air Daily News Hour.
Well, it's always good to come back home.
Yes, ma'am. And you're always at home here on the On-Air Daily News. And she's been a regular on the Female Solution, sharing as a host and bringing us so much wisdom. The show is Wisdom with Mamadee, and we always appreciated Wisdom with Mamadee. So we're going to bring up this image of the honorary street dedication to honor Mamie and Till Mobley. It's EL, which stands for Emmett, was his middle name Lewis.
Yes.
Emmett Lewis Till Road. And we're going to bring up this image for our viewers to see, because it's time that we do remind those who were not around during that time of what happened. And it is a tragedy, but it is also a reminder of what we must never allow to happen again, especially because this generation of young people has benefited so much from the work and the efforts of those who came before them, those who made the sacrifices, those who faced the brutality, the cruelty, the ugliness, and those who stood up to injustice. There were many young freedom fighters that were a part of much of the protests. And so we want young people to be reminded that their peers are a great deal a part of the revolution that happened in this nation. So we have up on our screen the flyer, a global committee commemorating King Days and Emmett Till Road Scholars Foundation invited you to attend a honorary street dedication to honor Emmett Till and Mamie Till Mobley, with them Mamie and E.L. Till Road. And we've got the 17th Ward, Alderman David Moore, 23rd Ward, Sylvana Tabares, and we've got the 18th Ward, Alderman Derek G. Curtis. And this is this coming Saturday, July 25th, 2026 at 10 a.m. And it's the corner of 71st at Kedzie. And it says, join us for the honorary street naming ceremony in honor of Mamie Till and son Emmett Lewis. So, Mamadee, tell us a bit about this journey that you have gone on to finally get the recognition so long deserved, and to get us to this point where we are now honoring this woman and her son with a street. Tell us about that.
Well, in 1987, I came up with the idea of commemorating the three key principles of the American Civil Rights Renaissance of the 1960s. Those principles were human and civil rights principles. January 15th, white colors, affirms the principles of human and civil rights. April 4th, Victims of Violence Holy Day, affirms the principles of nonviolence, black colors, April 4th. And August 28th, visually affirms the principles, spiritual and moral principles of righteousness, justice, peace, peoplehood, and cultural coexistence. Now, when I founded, and we founded Global Committee commemorating King Days in 1984, those were the days that we were commemorating, January 15th, April 4th, and August 28th. Those days coincide with Reverend Dr. Prophet King's birth, death, and Dream March on Washington. So Dr. King was stoned on 71st Street, bringing open housing to Chicago in 1966. And A.A. Raymond's funeral home was located on 71st Street. It wasn't on 71st Street, but Emmett was killed in 1955, but it's on 71st Street now. So we wanted the street to go from 71st in South Lakeshore Drive to the end of the street, 71st in Pulaski. But we couldn't go any further than Kidsey. And when Rosa Parks came out to the street dedication, she said it was what happened to Emmett that gave her the courage to do what she did. So, because I don't know if people living in Chicago have ever passed by a memorial that's on 67th in California, the beginning of Marquette Park. And that memorial was for two Lithuanians whose plane, or two Nazi Germany soldiers whose plane went down when they were on their way home to Lithuania. So that's why Marquette Park had always been such a sacred cow, and they didn't want blacks in there. So we couldn't go any further than Kidsey in 1991. And it took a 3-year effort because a lot of people at that time, the only namesake Emmett had when we started in 1984, commemorating August 28th, which is Emmett's birthday, and also August 28th on the 8th anniversary of Emmett Till's kidnap lynching was the March on Washington. So it took us 3.5 years to get the street naming because so many people didn't know Emmett Till, and the ones that did know him, they said, well, he was just a smart, elegant kid that got what he deserved. And that is the image that Mamie Till Mobley, his mother, she's the only child herself, and Emmett was an only child. So their relatives, their aunts and uncles and cousins, started with their grandparents. So she wanted his proper image of her son, and she also wanted to preserve his legacy. So in 1973, she came up with the Emmett Till Players. There was a group of young people, students, that went around reciting Dr. King's speeches and speeches of other historic heroes and sheroes. So that's, she said she couldn't explain what had happened to anybody. They would have to see it. She said his face looked like it just embodied all the hatred, that the racial hatred that people had against Black people, especially since they had just passed the Brown versus Board of Education Supreme Court decision that had said that segregation laws had harmed Black children, and they were too young to express themselves with words, so they used dolls to prove their case. And based on that, we just wanted people to know what had happened. And it's just like today, when your child is murdered, you want to know what happened, and you want to know why it happened. And so when they passed that Brown versus Board of Education decision, they said it harmed the children. And this is grammar school children, not high school or college, and that it was doubtful that they would ever overcome it. And it said that the segregation laws only existed to keep the status of the Negro down, and therefore it was unconstitutional. So we, when we got, it took 3.5 years because, as I said, a lot of people, he was a smart alecky kid, he got what he deserved, and but it was so much deeper than that. And so as a children's history memorialist, I believe in getting lasting memorials for children, because they played small girls, age 11 to 14, that was bombed and murdered in the church. The children played a tremendous role. And when people around America saw the children being water hosed down and bitten with police dogs, and it made a difference when it came to the whole civil rights movement. So this time, the street is Mamie and L. Till. She was a school teacher for 23 years in Chicago public schools. And in her own right, as a public speaker, as a woman that said, no, I'm not going to allow them to just say anything about my son. And she wanted the world to see, because she said she could never explain what had happened. Do you have any questions?
Well, as you're talking, I'm actually pulling up images for the audience to see the horrific pictures, and we've got a few on the screen here of the open casket, because there's a whole generation of people who did not live through that. I guess a couple of generations by now who did not live through that and did not see those images that were so horrific and so very graphic. The tortured body of Emmett Till. And even though the story is told a little bit during, Black History Month or week or whatever, few little days, they commemorate some of the major things that have happened. The children, as you said, the children played a major role in the civil rights struggle. And our children today need to know, they need to hear that, they need to feel that and see how their presence in many ways inspired the elders who may have been sitting on the sidelines to finally get involved. This was a time when people were so deeply affected, and it was a very intense time for many parents who, we would parents would send their children south many times. That was, you had relatives in the South, but after that, people were afraid to send their children south because of lynchings and all of that. Because Northern children, they didn't have that conditioning of, keep your head down and don't talk to white people, or, don't make eye contact or step out on the street when they're walking down the street. They didn't have any of that subservient conditioning. So their very boldness could easily trigger a nasty response of racial injustice. So as you said, a lot of the attitude was, well, this was some smart alecky kid that got what he deserved. But then when people saw visually what that looked like, to have a young boy beaten so severely and his body so mangled, that touched some hearts and awakened people and enraged people, which is what was needed. Sometimes people have to get angry enough so that they can choose to stop allowing injustice. And that's what happened in the case of Emmett Till. And in the case of Mamie Till Mobley, allowing the world to see his mangled face in the open casket. So I'm showing that on the screen right now. And so many people that filed into the church and saw that image, they were shocked into action. And that's what needed to happen.
Absolutely. As you said, they needed to see the face of the violence and the brutality. And Emmett was, he lived to be 14 1 month and 2 days old. He was kidnapped out of his uncle's home while he was on a vacation with his cousin, just kind of go, and he had never gone south or anything. He was born in Cook County Hospital, and he had spent the first 6 years of his life attending Argo Elementary School. That school now, that's the high school where his mother attended. It has a statue of her as a girl outside of that school. So that's one of the things that she has in her own right. But to see the fact that his eye was beat out of the socket, his face was crushed to the bone, and then he was thrown into the river with his 250-pound gin mill around his neck. So his body was never to be found. But God has a way that you can't hide something so hideous, especially done to a child who was in the 8th grade and had just made 14 years old, July 25th. And Mrs. Till, she told me, she said, she thought Emmett had the most beautiful teeth she had ever seen. And when she looked at his body, she said, but where are they? And the character, that smart alecky kid, no, she wasn't going to let that Image last. She said that one day it was really inclement weather. It was very cold outside, and she looked around and he was putting on his boots and coat, and she asked, "Where you going?" This mother. And he told her, he said, the neighbors, he said, "Mama, they're old and they might need something." And this was the kind of character and caring person Emmett was. And, but she just couldn't explain the violence, the brutality, but it's coming on the heels of the Brown versus Board of Education decision. And white people sort of had a way to talk to black people. This is what's going to happen to your child if you send them to an integrated school. And I think a lot of parents sort of felt that way because, as you said, they would send their children during the summer down home to be with their grandparents. And everybody did that. Come summertime, you're going to be going down home. Your grandparents are glad to get you. We're glad to get rid of you. And you're glad to go on this excitement. But those old timers had a way with those backhand licks when you button in grown folks' business of straightening the youngsters out while they were on vacation. So they came back better children. But after that happened to Emmett, the parents was bullied, and Ensign said, no, I can't let my child go south. So it was a personal image,
Yes, it was.
We can have too many incidents in our lives where people just feel it personally. And I think it was the feeling that this could have happened to my child.
That was what was said. And there were so many people that were terrified of what might happen if they ever sent their child south again. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I'd like you to take us through that process of helping to enlighten the elected officials so that they could see the need for this commemorative street, and what was the process that made them finally sign on to it? Because this is a street that's spanning over several aldermen's territories. What was that process like? We'll talk about that when we come back after this break. And you are watching the On Air Daily News Hour. Our guest is Mamadee Yanubian, who is an On Air Daily News columnist. And she is also, of course, the one responsible for this dedication, is head of the Global Committee commemorating King Days and Emmett Till Scholarship Foundation. And we're inviting you to a dedication this Saturday, July 25th, 2026, at the corner of Kedzie and 71st Street, to dedicate this street to Mamie and E.L. Till Road, finally remembering a moment in history that changed America forever. So we'll be right back after this quick break. So stay with us.
Great day. It's your girl Asada here to introduce a new female solution show called Asada Says. That's right. Every month we're going to talk about everything I am, from cryptocurrency and financial security to good health and parenting strategies. Come on and talk with me every Tuesday morning from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And let's do that thing the way Asada says it should be done. See you then. Peace right here on the Female Solution.
Have you seen all the solar farms popping up everywhere? You know, the big fields with the solar panels. There's one in our community. They produce electricity using the clean energy of the sun to send to the power grid to reduce our energy costs. Because not everybody can get solar panels put on their roof the way I have, but everybody can enroll for free to share the energy produced by the solar farms. That's why they were built. You know you're supposed to be getting a 10 to 20% savings on your bill for that, right? Illinois has a goal to transition by 2050 to 100% clean energy. So everybody needs to be connected. People in other communities are already getting their savings. So I'll be by to see you because they want to make sure you get your savings as well. It just takes a few minutes. I'm Naima Latif. Call me if you have any questions. 312-849-3456. And we are back. And as always, we appreciate you. You are watching the On Air Daily News Hour. And we are here with Mamadee, our own Mamadee Yanubian, as she introduces the honorary street dedication to honor Mamie and E.L. Till Road this Saturday, July 25th, 2026, at the corner of 71st and Kedzie. And that's at 10 o'clock a.m. So you all need to be there if you're in and around the Chicagoland area. So, Mamadee, I know you've been working on this for quite a while. You have been championing this cause for, it seems like, decades, of course. And a lot of people may not have had the fortitude to keep going. So what was that process like, over the years, getting aldermen to sign on to this? And why 71st Street? What is the significance of that particular street and getting that named after these individuals?
Well, in 1993, when we had the designation for Emmett Till Road, I could have called it an Emmett Till. Can you hear me? Is there feedback?
No, I hear you just fine.
Okay. 6 aldermen were involved in getting Emmett Till Road from South Lakeshore Drive to Kedzie. 6 aldermen. And I really hadn't thought about, when we did it in 1981, we started the process in 1987, because many people had never heard of Emmett Till. I didn't know about Emmett Till, but Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did mention Emmett Till and Medgar Evers in his I Have a Dream speech. He said they faced atrocities so we wouldn't have to. Now, how that particular sentence got deleted from his speech, I don't know. But August 28th happens to be my Earth Day birthday. So I made 18 on that particular day, and I paid a lot of attention to that march on Washington because I wanted to go. And 18 back then didn't mean you were grown just because you were legally 18. But I chose 71st Street because I wanted to make the connection between Dr. King and Emmett Till. However, I think it was Denver, Colorado, they had a statue of Dr. King and Emmett Till together. And in all of America, that was about the only uh, memorial that they had. But I chose 71st because Dr. King was stoned on 71st Street, bringing open housing to Chicago. Their cars were set afire and pushed into the lagoon, and it forced them to have to walk from like Kidney to Ashland through a sea of bricks and bottles. And it was the gang members that protected Dr. King when the police wouldn't do so, because the Nazi headquarters was like on 71st, I believe, in Whipple at the time. So, I could have called it Avenue or Boulevard, but I knew the road to freedom was rocky. And A.A. Rainer's funeral home was still on 7th Street. And that street had history within itself. Now, I got to thinking, Emmett Till Road was the first street in America named after a child at the time. And I said, we don't have a street named after a mother and a child. And this will be a historic first. But the idea was, all of this stuff we know about Emmett, we wouldn't know any of it if it hadn't been for his mother. And where was the memorial to her? And I said, well, we never did finish Emmett Till Road. We wanted it to go to Pulaski. And now we have an opportunity to take it from Kidsey to the end of the street, Pulaski, but by naming it Mamie after his mother and L. Till. So Emmett Lewis is his little initial, so it spells out L. Till. So, and this is, we were purposely trying to give her honor in her own right, for she could have just, like a lot of mothers, go into grief and never come out. But her example has inspired other mothers to have purpose over their pain and to have parents of murdered children. So she symbolizes that. And the murder of our children is still going on. In 1993, I believe it was, 67 children under the age of 15 was murdered. And we're still having this murder of our children. If we don't rescue the children, the race will die. And mothers have been so beaten down until they have given credit to a bird and say a stork barker, or they have given credit to a vegetable, say it was found in the cabbage patch. But mother, that is one of the most profound relationships in a person's life. It is written in that Black History Bible book, whose hero is a woolly-haired man with bronze-colored feet that matches his bronze-colored face, that children are a heritage of God, and the fruit of the womb, this is what he calls it, the fruit of the womb, that unborn, breathing soul is his reward. And it just seems that our mothers needed to be lifted up. And it's not like we sit around all these years and I've been working on it. No, it's just that I knew that mothers needed to be lifted up. We hear negative things about single mothers and unwed mothers, and our mothers of today is going through trauma. I mean, they have to work today. They it used to be that if you had a child under the age of 6, you could get a welfare check to sort of, because the children, you could stay with your child until they were 6 years of age. But more and more, our children are being neglected. We have a Father's Day and we have a Mother's Day, and we used to have a Children's Day. We used to communicate to our children that children are the reward of life. That's an African proverb. It takes a village to raise a child. That's an African proverb. But it seems that as time goes on, there's less and less respect for women in general, but mothers in particular. It seems like a lot of mothers today want to be pet parents. And they give these dogs more value than they do children.
Wow. You know, that's a mouthful right there. We're going to take one last break. And when we come back, I want to take a look at, have we changed the way we are treating our children so that they can get the message that their lives matter? We'll take a look at that, because many of our children are not being made to feel valued. And as a result, they are responding with disruption. But maybe there's something different we should be giving them in terms of a message. We'll talk about that when we come back after this last break. And we want you all to stick and stay. Don't stray away. We're talking to Mamadee Yanubian, on-air daily news columnist, and she is introducing an event you need to be at this weekend. As the founder of the Global Committee commemorating King Days, she is commemorating a great mother among us with a street naming ceremony. And if you're in and around the Chicagoland area, you need to be there. So we'll be right back after this last break. So just stay with us. When you see Black children misbehaving in public, being loud, disrespectful, and destructive, do you think to yourself, what they need is a good beating? That's what's wrong with these parents. They don't know how to discipline their children. Were you disciplined in that way? And did your parents also call you stupid, ignorant, and lazy? That's the way you break a slave. You terrorize them with constant fear of painful punishment. We were broken by parents who were broken, by parents who were broken. It's time to end the cycle of brokenness and bring healing to ourselves and our communities by using knowledge, respect, and love. We'll show you how. I'm Naima Latif. Get the book Slavery, the African American Psychic Trauma. On sale now. Go to www.naimalatif.com.
Welcome to Master Force with Mushim Suit. Join us each week on Thursdays at 7 a.m. Central, live on Facebook and YouTube on the Female Solution page, as we dive into powerful topics designed to assist you in mastering your life force. Our conversations feature a diverse lineup of experts, all dedicated to your growth. Tune in weekly to discover new ways to elevate your spirit and raise your vibration. And remember, we are ascending.
In which we're doing this documentary for Douglas Robinson, Your Death Will Not Be in Vain.
He was a heck of a great dude. And I love Doug. Doug loved me.
Just being around him, he had a good spirit. He was a healing person.
They are there.
Get SROs back.
When you give to the poor,
should not be forced out of their neighborhoods when it goes through a period of transformation.
Because there are too many people who are losing their homes to taxes because they can't pay a $1,000 tax bill.
And we are much in support of the work being done by our sister Zelda and the Higher Learning Network. And you can be in support too. And as we spoke about the importance of our converting to clean energy on the planet to help to create a healthier environment, and you save money on your electric bill, well, we also are involved in a program in which you can support clean energy and help the Higher Learning Network feed the homeless, and to start the process of connecting you to a local solar farm to reduce your bill. Just text a clear copy of the front and back pages of your electric bill to 312-849-3456, that number right there on the screen, and the Higher Learning Network will receive a referral gift of $25 to help us feed our unhoused neighbors. So we all want to assist in that process. And we also want to give all of you an opportunity to show your love for One Among Us, another of our on-air daily news team. And we mentioned that this morning, Minister Robert Floyd Plump, who is about to go into surgery right now as a result of a head-on collision that happened this past Friday. And he had 81 years old, full of spunk, is still reminding us, you know, he's head of the Harold Washington Foundation, and he's been reminding us of that legacy. And, you know, these elders among us that are making an effort to keep us abreast of the memories that matter and the people that matter and the people who we need to honor, we must honor them as well. So got Minister Plump's photo on the screen here, and you can give so that he will know that you care, and you can Zelle him directly, and we'll put that information up on the screen, because one of the things we want to do is to prevent people from being in distress. And it's distressing enough when you're already are going through this environment of extreme financial demands to keep you alive. So we definitely don't need more stress. And we ask for your prayers as he prepares for surgery. We pray for his speedy recovery. And down there on the screen, you can Zelle to Robert Floyd Plump at 312-882-5935. Zelle him directly your love offerings, your gifts, you know, anything that you desire, whatever your heart and your bank account tells you, you can give. Zelle it directly to Robert Floyd Plump. He's got quite a journey ahead, you know, with, you know, major injury to the head, broken both legs in this head-on collision coming from Robert Johnson's funeral. And he's always been a dedicated servant of the community. So it's time for the community to show their love and give love back. Zealot to Robert Floyd Plump. That's how you spell his name. RobertFloydPlump at 312-882-5935. Zeal it directly to him. Give your offerings. And we appreciate you very much for that. He's part of our on-air daily news team, and we appreciate his ongoing dedication in providing news, information, and the yearly parade, the Harold Washington parade, keeping alive the memory of a giant among us, Mayor Harold Washington. So we want you to also remember him. So we're back with Mamadee, who is another voice that keeps us informed, motivated, inspired, and involved, and remembering those who have brought us to this point in our society. And the story of Emmett Till, I remember that young people, when they heard about it, it inspired a lot of young people to get involved in the movement, because they could identify this 14 years old lynched. It touched a lot of hearts, and it inspired a lot of young people to get involved in these marches, these sit-ins, these protests, and a lot of young organizers. And we saw during that era, a lot of young people emerged. John Lewis, Jesse Jackson, Andrew Young, a lot of young people were taking leadership roles during that time of tragedy. So Mamadee, as we look at the young people today, and we got a few minutes, but we want to take a look at what should we be doing? What should we be saying that would inspire them and make them know that they matter, their voice matters, their feelings matter. Right now, they're feeling like they don't matter, and that's why they're cutting up so bad, because they feel ignored, and they feel like we're not listening. What should we be saying to them or listening to them so that we could adequately inspire them?
Well, that is one of the things that we want Mamie and El Chiro to do, is to raise the status of motherhood. It is your mother that does the birthing. It is her birthday. It's the day that you got born on the earth, but you were alive for 9 months before she did the labor, the birthing, and the work so that you could be born on the earth. So first of all, we've got to begin to recognize that your relationship with your mother and motherhood is one of the most important professions on earth. You get to be all of the professions when you are a mother. And our mothers have been beaten down. They are required to work, because many times, even if they're married, it takes 2 incomes to just support the family. They've got their emails to take care of. They've got all of these other things that a lot of women before them didn't have. So we have got to raise that, take this as an opportunity to raise the status of motherhood. That's a relationship that's like no other. You lived inside your mother for 9 months, and when she's no longer here, she can live inside of you forever. And there's no other relationship like that. This is your first teacher. So we need to raise the level of respect for motherhood. Because as I said, women are preferring no children at all, or they're preferring to be pet parents. And we've got to just raise the level of respect for your first teacher and the importance of her, and then we can go back and get the kind of proper respect that our children and training them up is supposed to have. And it's supposed to be the older women to teach the younger ones. And this is an opportunity for us to begin to do that, because blessed are you that your days are long on the land that God, not government, but God has given you. So elderly people whose population is projected to double by 2030, they have work to do in loving these children into shape, and instead of whipping them into shape, and also raising the importance of motherhood that allows you to be all of the professions when you're in the profession of motherhood.
Yes, it does. Well, we're out of time now. Thank you so much, Mamadee, as always, for sharing your wisdom. And you can go to onair.dailynews.com and see the reminder of this coming event, the honorary street dedication to honor Mamie and E.L. Till Road. And we want you to join us for this honorary street naming ceremony in honor of Mamie Till and her son, Emmett Lewis Till, Saturday, July 25th, 2026 at 10 a.m. at the corner of 71st and Kedzie. This is a historic event. You need to come and bring your children and talk to them about their responsibility to continue the legacy of freedom, justice, and equality. Let them be inspired by the lives of Mamie Till Mobley and her son, and let them be inspired to give their best effort in carrying on the legacy of empowerment for our community. We thank you so much. Thank you, Mamadee, for coming on, as always, giving us inspiration. And we look forward to this Saturday, seeing you out there at 71st Street.
Be a history maker. First history in America named after a mother and child.
That's right, making history. But thank you so much for being a history maker. I'm Naima Latif, and come on back tomorrow for Master Force with Mushem Soot. And until that time, as always, we want you to continue to shine your light. We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Ngiyabonga. Senegal, Jaref. Kenya, Asante. Israel, Toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.